the recording.
Mr. President, you may have the
VP.
floor. Go ahead, sir. Recording has been
Okay.
started.
Have you started the recording? Okay. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So without wasting time, we are going to start this program. And I can see our VIPs, our elders in the community, and I'm so much excited to see them. So I would like to observe a brief protocol before we start by the recitation of the national anthem. So please, I want to welcome our own dear uncle, our elder, one of those that that I can call the founding father of Internet Society Nigerian chapter, and that is none other than Reverend Sunday Folayan. I respectfully welcome you onto this call. Thank you very much for answering the clarion call. We do really appreciate this. And we know that, yes, it has been part of you to answer the community call, even when the younger ones call. And we do really appreciate this. Thank you very much. And of course, in no particular order, I also want to welcome our brand new, our brand new chairman of the board of Afrinic. And before we welcome you, I want to say congratulations once again, sir. On behalf of Internet Society Nigerian chapter, we congratulate you on your appointment as the chairman of the board of Afrinic. And we pray that God will see you through, even in this new assignment that has been given unto you. And that is none other than Professor Wale Adedokun. You are welcome, sir. Thank you very much. And of course, I also want to welcome one of our dearest elder. We have so much elders in this community, and that is why I am always confident whenever we have, the need to talk to the elders. We have so many elders in this community, and yes, where you have elders, definitely you agree with me that there's going to be a lot of wisdom. There's going to be a lot of knowledge that you can actually learn from. And the person I want to introduce this time around is a board member of NIRA, and that is my my dear brother, Mr. Ebenezer Daddy. Thank you very much for answering the clarion call. We do really appreciate you, and we welcome you even to this call. Yes, after observing this protocol, I'm going to hand over to the Vice President now. We are going to start this program without wasting time, and that is going to start by the recitation of the first stanza of the Nigerian national anthem. VP, over to you, please.
Thank you, Honorable President, sir. First and foremost, I want to also welcome the class, most especially the class of the Nigerian School on Internet Governance, the sixth of its kind, to this room as we are about to kick off today uh, with nostalgic speakers at our beck and call. Again, we appreciate members. Sorry for the sound, background sound. We appreciate all the members of the board. We appreciate our speakers. My apology. We appreciate our speakers who have taken it upon themselves to come very early, as at the time I opened the room. I could say that barely 1 minute that I started the room, they started making their entry. And so we're going to go forward with the recitation of the first stanza of the Nigerian anthem. I will lead if I do not see anyone opening their mic to assist me on the count of 3, 2, 1, and go. Nigeria, we hail thee.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land.
Though our
Though
paths
tribe and tongue may differ,
in
in
brotherhood,
brotherhood we stand. Nigerians all, I'm proud to serve
our
our
native
sovereign motherland.
Thank you so much. On that note, we will, without taking too much time, open the floor by calling on. We will be starting with. I want to be sure that I have Reverend Canon Reverend in the chat room. In the order that the president has called, we will be calling them out. Reverend Canon Sunday Folayan, former chair of Afrinic, former past president, Nigerian Internet Registration Association, a leader and a guru in his own respect, and worthy of leadership. I want to open the floor with your presentation, sir. I yield the floor to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vice President. Mr. President, good evening, sir. Good evening, co-speakers, and good evening, distinguished members of the Internet Society. May I ask how many minutes I have to talk, VP, so that I will not talk beyond the allotted time?
VP protocol, please. VP.
How many minutes do we have for the entire webinar?
Okay, so we have an NASA, and we have three VBIPs. So if you're going to divide that by 3.
Discussions. Well, there should be discussions, so we should confine each speaker to 15 minutes so that we'll have 45 minutes and then 15 minutes of discussion. Thank you very much. So, knowing fully well that I have 15 minutes, I will try to use it judiciously. So it's 7:12 now, and I would ensure that by 7:25, I rest my case, which will be 30 minutes. So we are discussing building bridges, connecting communities, the power of community networks in Nigeria. And I'd want to start. So can you please mute if you are not talking? Can the host please mute? VP, please mute your mic. You are hosting another meeting. All right, so let me start by first defining community networks. And what is key are 2 things about community networks. The first is that commercial operators don't find it profitable to establish networks where community networks can thrive. So there are places that are either underserved or not served at all because commercial providers cannot provide service at scale in such areas. The second is that those communities have peculiarities that make them need those networks, which may not make sense. For example, to commercial network providers. And in recent years, we've seen community network movements grow all over the world, mainly in Asia, some part of Latin America, and also very close home, South Africa, and recently a lot of traction in Nigeria. And the idea is that people are saying community networks would help bridge the digital divide and create networks where those commercial providers don't want to go. And in building these networks, there are still some challenges. The first is getting those communities to understand the fact that setting up community networks is going to help them have better access to the internet. The second is, how do you then assess the suitability of a community to benefit from having community network? How do they build it? How do they plan? How do they sustain those networks? And it is very clear that if you want to build community networks, you need to be able to assess, you need to be able to plan, you need to be able to build, you need to be able to maintain, and you need to be able to sustain that community network. And very critical to getting this done is what I call the PPT. And the PPT is the people, the process, and the technology. So if we take the people, one of the main challenges in building skills, developing manpower in Nigeria is that we have severe constraints in terms of those who know the facilities and equipment, which ultimately leads to very low equitable access and quality of access. If you ask all around Nigeria today, how many people can terminate Cat6 networks, you may get thousands. But if you ask how many network engineers can terminate fiber optic cables, maybe you'll get hundreds. So there's still a skills gap that we need to build and close. Then there's an extremely low external efficiency, I call it, between the people who design our curriculum and the labor market information, especially between the industry and the academia in Nigeria. So when people talk of networking, if you go to look at the lesson notes of our trainees in the universities and polytechnics today, you'll be seeing coaxial cable for internet connectivity. But if you go into the market today, if you go into the industry, there is nowhere where you can see a meter of coaxial internet cable. So that is a challenge. And of course, gender equality. We need to deal with gender inequality in Nigeria. Some years ago, I had a staff, a lady who was climbing a microwave mast. And so many people came to watch that a lady is climbing a mast. It was so amazing. And that points to the level of inequality we have. Of course, we cannot have very strong engineers if we don't have very strong trainers. So we need to breed more vocational teachers to help build this manpower. And of course, if I go on to talk about the process, we have very serious bottlenecks in the planning, creation, and management of community networks. And some of it are failures in horizontal coordination. We have fantastic agencies in Nigeria, but inter-agency cooperation is zero. So some things are the exclusive prerogative of NCC, some things are the exclusive prerogative of NITDA, but some things are cross-functional things between NITDA and NCC. Yes, the ministry may serve as a bridge, but we still have not gotten a synergy that gets all our government agencies working together. And this obviously has a direct impact on how we can make progress. Because if one agency wants to develop and one agency wants to regulate, there will be conflict. So at what point do we cooperatively do things? And at what point do we wield the big stick? So what we need to do to get us closer to having community networks that will bridge the digital divide. The first is that we must continually deploy internet infrastructure to connect those who need it most. My teacher of blessed memory said, when two babies want to eat and one is crying, the temptation is to put the feeding bottle in the mouth of the crying baby. He said, but the truth is that the crying baby is not the most hungry of the two babies. What makes you discern as a parent is to know that that baby crying is not more hungry than the one that is not crying and keeping quiet. So community networks can only grow when we see it more as development, service to the people, that will then lead to that development from where we can tax and derive revenue. And development is not something that you count in terms of naira and kobo. It is something you invest in so that you can get it. We also must make sure that we bridge this development using funds like USPF, which is a tax on commercial entities operating in very lucrative jurisdictions. We can use this type of funds to build the community networks. And of course, we must support the development of local technical skills who would otherwise have migrated to the urban cities where their skills will be put to maximal use. I like to quote the Internet Society in one of its very many publications, that the right solution is the solution where the people who use the internet are actually empowered to build it. And this can only happen when people come together, plan together, work together to build and maintain their own internet connection. It then becomes the internet by the people, for the people. This, I think, is the fulcrum on which community networks rest, and on which we can begin to work together to create as many community networks which are not shackled by regulation, which are not shackled by licensing, which are not shackled by the paucity of technology, but to bring internet to the doorsteps of everybody in line with the mandate and vision of the Internet Society, ISOC. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to pause here so that other speakers can have it. Thank you very much and good evening. Mr. Moderator, sir, I am done with this.
VP.
My apologies. I'm fumbling with my system. An excellent presentation. For those of us have been in the, for those of you who have seen me, running up and down in the Nigerian School on Internet Governance room, you know what I've told you. So if you have any question, please write it in the chat room. For those who have already asked their question on the platform, this is where we are supposed to bring your questions. But just write it in the chat room and it will be answered. Now I'll be going to our next speaker. I'll be calling on the new chairman of Afrinic, a one-time chairman of the Electoral Committee for the Nigerian School on Internet Governance, a reliable and formidable member of the Nigerian Network Operators Group, no other person than the indefatigable professor himself, Mr. Professor Adewale Adedokun. Prof, you have the floor.
Mr. Vice President, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Uncle SF. The President of Nigerian Society, Internet Society, Nigerian chapter, and all members that are online, good evening. Let me start by saying thank you to the community for being a part of stabilizing Afrinic. Thank you for all that you do. We sincerely appreciate you. And I will use this opportunity to also tell you that the work has not ended, I just started. So when you see calls to come and render your services, please be available. Having said that, please, anytime you want me to speak, please ensure that you don't put Uncle SF before me. I'm just pleading and I'm begging you, because you know they said it is in the mouth of elders that bitter kola used to be sweet. So if you have put Uncle SF before me, you have finished the job. There is nothing else for me to say. I will just repeat some of the things he has said, and I will be done. So next time, allow us to say something first, then the elders can finish it up. Okay, so thank you very much. So I'm supposed to be speaking very briefly on from concepts to connectivity. We are supposed to be looking at practical steps and policy needs for building community networks in Nigeria. Now, I'm sure you will all agree with me that most of those things Uncle SF has talked about them, but very briefly, I will just be talking about 5 things, basically. Navigating community networks. 2, I will look at mobilization, effective mobilization. That's when you're mobilizing the community, and technology selection, which will have to do with the things that you deploy when you are deploying community networks. 4, I will talk about navigating regulatory and policy challenges. And finally, sustainability, funding and sustainability model, very, very briefly. I'll just talk about them because Uncle SF has run through all those 5 things. So, like he has defined what community network is. In our time, I'm sure we all agree that MNOs, basically, they are business people, and if they want to deploy networks, definitely one of the things they look at is their return on investment. So in local places, you hardly find networks. And that affects a lot of things. It affects everything that has to do with people in the rural communities. So community networks basically should be targeting some of those unreached areas when it comes to networks. And this is to enable the people in these communities, give them some kind of economic empowerment. There are so many things that happens in those rural communities. With connectivity, you will be able to empower them seriously. So that's basically why community networks become something that is important for the community to look at. Internet Society says internet is for everyone. So it's not only about whether you have money or you don't have money. It's really about this. It's not. It's something that is important for everybody to have. It's no more a luxury. Something for everybody to have. So when you are trying to look at how to start a community network, one thing becomes very important. You need to ensure that you engage the local community. One thing about community network that we need to understand is community network, and let it be a community network. You can build the network, but you need the community themselves to own the network. By the time we start talking about sustainability, you will understand that if they don't own the network, sustainability becomes very difficult. So from the initial point, you need to ensure that you are able to build some level of trust within that particular community, especially starting with every community has a form of leadership. And in those rural communities, they respect any kind of leadership that they have put in place. So your campaigns, your awareness campaign, your conception, everything you want to do, definitely must start with building some level of trust with the local leadership in that particular community. And as you do that, you begin to identify champions. In every community, there is always a champion, or there are champions. You need to identify champions, because by the time you finish deploying and you turn your back away, they are the people that will run that network. They are the people that will ensure the network is sustained. So you need to identify the local leaders. You need to bring them on board, ensure they understand what you want to do, and identify champions that will be able to carry on this work by the time you leave the place. So those champions will help you to be able to get volunteers. And when you get those volunteers, you ensure everybody is together with you, even during the point of deployment, so that knowledge is transferred as you are building a community. Okay, I've talked about trust. I've talked about trust, but as you are doing this, even before the redeployment starts, one of the things that you can always get people to cooperate with you is to ensure that you do a lot of sensitization, awareness, even technical workshops when you have identified some of the champions that you think they can quickly pick up one or two things. Then the feedback mechanism is very important. There must always be, you must create an avenue, even from onset, to ensure that you get a feedback. I'll give you a quick example. You can get to a community and the leader will say, let us put this thing, let us put this network in this place. But within the community, when you have a feedback mechanism, you will likely begin to get some feedback from the community. Oh, that place is good, but this place is better. You have more use in this area. So many people will use it in this area. So some of those feedback mechanisms are very important. It's the same feedback mechanism that will help you after deployment to know, to be able to measure the impact of the deployment that you have done. And there are some things that we need to understand as techies. One of the things we don't like is we don't like celebrating success. When some of these things are done in that community, create enough atmosphere for people to know something has happened. Celebrate success. Let people be able to share, one or two things together to show that something basically has happened in that community. In the conception and in the deployment, it's important to ensure you have done a very good mapping, conducting assessments, because in doing that, you will know what that network can serve that will attract the interest of the people in that community. So if you go to a community that basically what they do, they are nomads. They only have goods and animals that they move from one place to another. As some people are moving out, some people are coming in. You will know the kind of resources that you want to put on their community network. Because again, I need to say that community network is not all about just internet access. You are putting resources for people to be able to access that will help whatsoever they do. So you need to do a very nice and comprehensive needs assessment for you to know the kind of resources that will catch their attention, and we want them to ensure that network is sustained. Looking at technologies, it's important for us to deploy a technology that is suitable for that environment. I've been to some very, very local communities, and one of the major problems they have in the community is lightning attacks. So if you don't understand the community and you just deploy any kind of technology there, it may not stand the test of time. So in your needs assessment also, you need to do all these impact assessments that will help you to deploy a very suitable technology for them in that particular environment. You need to take access into consideration. You need to take coverage into consideration. you need to take the capacity of the kind of network that you are deploying into consideration. And to wrap that technology deployment up has to do with affordability. How, especially in maintaining it, maybe you have a grant to deploy, but by the time the grant is ended, the community must maintain that network. How affordable will that network be for that community to be able to maintain it? Okay. In trying to wrap up, I talked about regulations. We need to ensure that we understand the kind of regulatory framework in that environment, like NCC has regulations. We must understand regulatory framework and ensure that that is taken into consideration by the time you are deploying. Regulations, licensing, requirements, you need to ensure that those things are taken into consideration. It is good for us at times to look into some of those unlicensed spectrum if they can be used in deploying community network. Okay, sustainability. Most of the time when we are deploying community network is because there is seed funding, maybe from ISOC, USPF, seed funding. But like I said earlier, how do we sustain it? You can fund the initial deployment, but going forward, what happens? And that's why community contribution is important. During the period that the grant is still active, if the community is involved, they will not want it to go down. And within themselves, they know how they maintain common facilities, but they must be involved. So with that, it becomes very easy. If they will need to charge themselves, I'm sure the community will be happy to charge themselves if they see that that particular network is something that they cannot do with and is useful for them. Once in a while, let's explore partnership with local governments. Let's explore partnership with NGOs that runs around those communities. Let's explore community, what do they call them now? Cooperatives. Some of them will help to. Then, like I said earlier, because you need to sustain even the technical aspect of it, please, we must train locals. We must train local people to be able to do some very quick maintenance things so that the community network will not go down. Community ownership is important. I will say it again and again and again. Let that community know from the one that this is your project. We are giving it to you. It is your own. Let them take ownership of it. And local services. I've mentioned a bit of the local services. What are the services that we speak directly to their needs, and they will not want that network to go down? When you have those things, they will be very happy to sustain and maintain the network. Engage government initiatives. Speak to USPS, speak with NIDA, let them understand some of these things. Some of them have funding. Uncle SF talks about USPF. This USPF is supposed to do some of these things. They have the funding, but if they don't know what you are doing, they cannot help in sustaining some of those projects. So once again, thank you, everybody. I think I should stop at that. Thank you. Mr. Vice President, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you for that wonderful submission. I can see that most of our members who are coming in are asking a question about having to, catch up with what they have missed. Don't worry, it's being recorded. I just pay attention for the next few minutes that we will build this session so that you don't miss a thing. For those of you who have missed Canon Reverend Sunday for Lions presentation, you will get to know more and get to watch, listen, sorry, so to say, later on. It will be posted. And now we're moving to the third person. But before I go to the third person, I want to say thank you again to Canon Reverend Sunday for Lion, and taking note of the correction from the able chair of AFRINIC, Professor Adewale. God bless you, Professor Adewale Adedoku, for that correction. It is well noted. I will not make that mistake again, because we'll still have to do we still have to do more of these sessions in public, as you have raised some particular issues that we'll get back to. On this note, I will be calling on one of our rising registrar in the Nigerian Internet Registration Association. I know he's a pastor, I know he's a leader, I know he's also an achiever with so many awards. I will call on no other person than Mr. Ebenezer Dare. Mr. Ebenezer Dare, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you very much, my VP. Good evening, everybody. All protocols duly observed. I'm laughing here because when I have my mentors in the house, and my mentors have already gone ahead, so I'm just laughing at what I'm going to say again once I have Reverend Sunday and Prof. Wale already speaking about community networking already. But once again, thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful good evening, everyone. My name is Ebenezer Dare, and I want to appreciate the Internet Society Nigerian chapter being led by our Ibu President Engineer Kunle and the VP. Thank you for this opportunity. And thank you once again to my fathers in the house, my mentors, Reverend Sunday Folayo, whom I've been leaning on his hand for many years now. At least I've known him for over a decade, and he has been tutoring me. Also, Professor Wale, who every time I call, he always gives me the privilege of access. I want to say thank you very much. So we're talking on the power of community network in Nigeria, but let me go the other way around so that Reverend Sunday took us to a big level on community network, talking about the PPT. Professor Wale took us higher. You know, Prof is a professor, so he took us the university way. So let me try and bring us back to maybe the local market as a businessman. So let's come back home and talk about why the .ng domain is the local game changer for community Nigeria, for community network. I call it owning Nigerian online. But let me share my screen so that, because my bosses, they've spoken directly from their weight of experience, and since we are still learning, so please allow me to just share my screen and run you through this topic within the next 10 minutes or so. So we're looking at why the .ng domain is a local game changer. We're looking at how you can own Nigerian online. We're talking about community network, building communities, community network in Nigeria. So yeah, we're in a age where digital presence is about everything for us in Nigeria at the moment, especially AI. Especially AI, which is defining relevance for us. So Nigerian internet ecosystem is experiencing or is witnessing a critical shift, and the use of .ng, which is Nigeria's country code top-level domain, is becoming more than just a branding decision. It is becoming a strategic move for economic, social, and technology inclusion. So I'll be outlining some values of, when you are talking about community network, what are the values that owning Nigerian online, engaging a .ng domain name, what are the values it brings to the table, and how does it serve as a transformative tool for communities, for startups, for small businesses, for non-profits, and educational institutions across the country. So, but before we go into the values, let's quickly understand what a .ng domain is. So the .ng domain name is Nigeria's official designated top-level domain managed by the Nigerian Internet Registration Association. I know many of us know the .ng domain already, but for the sake of people that are maybe joining, maybe they saw the post online and they are just interested, maybe you're not even a member of Internet Society and you are here tonight. So we're talking about building community network, the power of community network, and we're looking at how using .ng domain as a local game changer can help you with the community network. So the .ng domain is, like, for instance, now, we have .ng for Nigeria, we have .gh for Ghana, we have .za for South Africa, we have .ph for Philippines, we have .uk for United Kingdom, .us for United States of America, and so on and so forth like that. So our own local brand, our own local country code top-level domain is .ng. We call the .com generic top-level domain, and we call the .ng country code. So it's based to a country, it's tied to a country code top level domain. So it allows you as an individual, allows businesses and organizations to establish their digital presence in a way that reflects their true Nigerian identity. So there's multiple options under the .ng domain names, which you call second level, like the .com.ng for commercial purposes, the .org.ng for non-profit, religious organizations and NGOs, the .edu.ng for educational institutions, .gov.ng for government, .name for personal branding, .ng itself for premium direct domain name with shorter brandable names, and many of them. There are many more of them like that. So these structural options ensure that organizations and individuals can align their online identity with their mission while retaining a Nigerian-focused presence. So now let's talk about the values that when you are building, as you're working within the community, building the community networks, the values that .ng brings to the table. Number one is national identity and digital pride. One of the strongest values of the .ng domain name is that it brings national digital identity. In a world where international domain like .com, .net dominate, the .ng domain allow Nigerian brands to stand out and declare their roots. If you are proud, gone are the days where when they talk about all the bad things, they say Nigeria is coming from Nigeria. But now when you talk about the best doctors in foreign lands, in US, in UK, they're Nigeria. When you talk about the people at the top of the politics, when you talk about people that are doing great things across the globe, they are Nigerians, and we are proud to be Nigerians. I'm proud to be in Nigeria. Are you proud to be in Nigeria? Then you want to hit your chest or touch your chest and said, I'm proud to be a Nigerian. So the Nigerian brands help us to stand out, and it declares that, yes, this is who we are. I'm a Nigerian from Nigeria. So it becomes an immediate signal to visitors that are visiting your website, customers, even investors that want to invest in your business, and collaborators that the business is locally rooted, operating within Nigeria and committed to building from the inside out. So this identity also contributes to digital patriotism, which is a growing desire among Nigerians to build and support local solutions. So with the .ng, is a local pride that you are proud to be a Nigerian. Many people coming into Nigeria to come and invest in Nigeria, to do business with Nigeria, because Nigeria is becoming the face of the global world. So with you putting a .ng out there, making sure that your community, your business, your startup is centered around the .ng, you are making Nigeria proud. Then another one, which is very, very important, please take this one, very, very vital, is improve local visibility and search relevance. The algorithms that work with all these search engines, let's say Google search engine, Bing, and the other search engine, is that they will first of all look for, when you are searching something online, they first of all look for businesses that are within your local community. Maybe when you are searching something online, the algorithm will look at your IP. So okay, this person is from Nigeria and is searching for businesses, or is searching for some keyword, searching for some things online. They first of all bring businesses or websites that are local to you, that can solve your needs almost immediately, before now extending to maybe the global network like .com and another one. Have you ever asked yourself this question? Why is Google, when you type google.com on your browser from Nigeria here, if you redirect you back to google.com.ng? Because the algorithm favors local businesses more. So when you are your community network based on a .ng, it will help give you global relevance. It will help give you digital presence, so people can easily get to know about your business. They can get to know about your NGO. They can see your networks very fast, which is much more important for you, for your business, and for your visibility. So this local prioritization gives Nigerian websites better visibility within their target audience compared to competing sites on the international domain. The challenge we have, I've spoken with several business owners or people that they reach out to us that, oh, you're a web developer, I want to build website, I want to develop website. And you ask them that, do you want a .com or .ng? Say, I want a .com, I want my business to be global. If your business is not locally rooted, then the global visibility is not just there. You build local, you start local, and you grow global. So many of them will have to start educating them on the need, on the advantage and the importance of the .ng domain, why it helps your business to grow very fast. It gives you some visibility. For small businesses and service providers targeting local markets, this SEO advantage can translate into increased traffic for you. So these are organic search without you doing much, maybe paying for doing sponsored advert or paid. Just because you are using a .ng domain name, it gives you increased traffic. It brings customer trust and sales for you. So which is a very major advantage for you. Another value is credibility and trustworthiness. In an online environment where trust is critical currency, especially with the rise of cybercrime and spam, the .ng offer a layer of legitimacy. Very soon now, the NARA, which is the registry for the .ng, for the country code top level domain.ng, they'll be rolling out another layer of security again, which we call the DNSSEC. It's already in the test lab that they are testing it to make sure that the .ng is much more secure. It's much more better off, and it's so it gives you another extra layer of security over cybercrime and spam. So for non-profit organizations, for churches, for businesses, for communities, building community, for NGOs, using a .org.ng or .ng domain can create immediate clarity and a sense of authenticity for your business. So even government and educational institutions are required to use the .gov.ng and the .edu.ng. Primary schools are required to use the primary and secondary, they use the .sch.ng respectively, reinforcing authority and transparency. Is empowering local economy. So when you are using a .ng over a .com for your within your community, for your community network, or for your business, for your NGO, what you are saying is that you are directly affecting the Nigerian digital infrastructure. So revenue remains locally. There's no capital flight. By the time you are buying a .com, either if you pay in naira, you are paying to somebody that will later convert the money to dollars. So you are also part of the problem that we have in Nigeria by the time you are going for .com. So if you go for .ng, it means that the money remains locally. It helps to stabilize the economy and it helps us to grow very fast. So it empowers local registrars and resellers. It empowers hosting companies like Oslag Limited, which is the company where I'm the CEO. Also, it helps with internet development projects under NARA, unlike the foreign TIDs that exist the country, which takes away our values and economic growth as a country. Another value here is affordable options for every sector. People have always been complaining that the .com the .ng is expensive. No, the highest you can get a .ng right now, as at today in the local market, some people are selling maybe 15,000 or below. That's .ng. Even .com.ng is as low as 7,000, 6,000, 6,500. You see different prices from different registrars, but very, very cheap. But if you want to go for a .com now, you can't go below, you can't get it below 20,000 naira per annum for one, even much more than that. Some are even selling up to 25,000. And yet you still have people complaining that the .com is better or the .ng is expensive. So it brings affordable option for you. So let's say you are starting out as an NGO or as a small business, you just register a .com.ng for, let's say, like 7,000 naira. You go on a website like oslag.ng and you see hosting of 20,000. So for a whole year, you can have 27,000 naira to maybe have an official email address, and your website will still be sitting on that hosting of 27,000 naira. For your business within 12 calendar months, should be able to get 27,000 naira to renew and continue sustaining your .ng. So it's an affordable option for you with minimal cost. You can claim your digital presence online. Then also it helps to drive tech innovations and startups. Nigerian growing technology ecosystem has embraced .ng as a signal of local relevance and ambition. So startups continue to emerge across fintech and all the other sectors. Many are choosing the .ng to represent their commitment to solving Nigerians' problem. So this choice sends a message to users and founders alike that we are building for Nigeria and we are doing it from Nigeria. So for youth-led innovations and entrepreneur hubs, .ng becomes a badge of ownership in the national digital narrative. So lastly is bridging the digital divide. The .ng helps to bridge the digital divide in rural communities and unserved urban areas. The opportunity to participate in the digital economy is often limited by access, awareness, and knowledge gap. My two mentors that spoke earlier on have already debated on this much, so I will not be going around it again. But community organizations, schools, and advocacy group, and even cooperatives can own a domain, create a basic website, and be visible to the world, all while remaining grounded in their local realities. So this democratization of access is key to building a truly inclusive Nigeria online. So talking about community, the power of community network in Nigeria. So it's this .ng domain is very important. Then this misconception I've already discussed them already, so I won't be going about it again. That the .ng domain is expensive. That's not true. The .com is better for international reach. That's also not true, because even the .com and the .ng they are from the same root server. So the same thing a .com.ng can do is the same thing .com can do. The same thing a .ng can do is the same thing a .com can do. So they are stemming from the same root server. They have the same global relevance and the same standard, which is often the first step to scaling globally. So .ng, they said .ng, some say is even only for government or for tech company. No, it's not. In truth, it's for everyone, everybody, from fashion brand, from food vendors, from ministries, musicians, NGO, everybody can have a .ng brand. So in conclusion, the .ng is a digital identity that is worth owning. The .ng domain is more than just a string of letters. It is a powerful tool for our economic growth, local pride, digital credibility, and global positioning. As Nigeria deepens its digital footprint, adopting .ng means you are choosing to own a piece of that future. I believe with this few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that .ng domain is very vital and important, the power of community network in Nigeria. Thank you once again. My name is Ebenezer Dari. Over to you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you so much for that powerful delivery and of presentation. Like I said earlier on, to all our members who are here and other members who may have missed it for one reason or the other, the recording will be made available very soon to us after we have done the particular event. So now we go to the next segment. I am trying to seek my colleague in the house, to help out, to anchor the question and answer. Oga Biliaminu, please help me to check all questions let me check questions in the chat room and be ready to read it out to us. Oga Biliaminu will be handling that. Again, for those of you who have written down and who want to ask your questions directly, please, you can use the icons to raise your hand, and then you will be called upon. Until then, please be muted. Any questions at the level of the floor, you are free to raise your hand. For those of us who are shy like me, you can post your questions to the chat room, please. We have limited time, so we're trying to catch as much as possible today before we move forward. Okay, I see no questions here. Oga Biliaminu, over to you. Any question in the chat room?
Hello, sir. I can hear you. I just finished praying now, so I only heard you mention my name. What do you want me to do?
Okay, so I wanted you to read any question in the chat room, but don't worry, let me assist you. Let me assist you quickly because of our time. I'm going through the chat room. Yes, I apologize. While I was trying to set the volume, I unfortunately left my mic on. My Reverend Kanu, sir. Mentioned. Okay, so I see Olabimpe Adeloro, who I know as a cybersecurity expert. She was responding to some information from Reverend Canon Sunday Folanyo, and she said, "Thanks for mentioning the reality in the field versus school curriculum. I wish something could be done about this. It is a real problem." While they are also mentioning that they were a good presentation, they were also asking for the recording session, which I have also told them that will be made available to them. Some have said the webinar is very interesting and educating. Also, there is Temidayo Oyenei, who says there is always some filter for the .ng domain. How can some resolve this issue on some foreign network except you use VPN? Now, this is a very important question. from Timidayo that, bothers some of us who know of such filter. So any speaker on the floor, please, you have the floor. Again, before I step back for any of our speakers to answer that question, my Honorable President has apologized that we're going to go beyond 8 p.m. And so therefore, please, I reiterate the apology of the Honorable President. Thank you. I yield the floor to our speakers. I'll take the question again. From Temidayo Oyenenyi, there is always some filter for .ng domain. How can some resolve this issue on some foreign network except to use VPN? I pass the ball to our speakers.
Okay, thank you. So if I may have to answer that question, yeah, I would say at this current time, I'm not aware of filter for .ng domain, but if somebody is saying there is still filter for .ng domain, it could be maybe because, before now, they really don't trust .ng domain like that because it's always that Nigeria is known for scam, Nigeria is known for corruption, Nigeria is known for this, but because the narratives are changing. So many of them, for instance, there was an issue recently that there was a movieboss.ng domain that they said is being used for pirating or for piration or for for pirate purpose, just duplicating whatever it is that the original movie boss is doing. And the moment they reach out to NERA, within a couple of hours, that particular domain was brought down, that there was a recommendation from the foreign counterparts to appreciate what Nigerian digital presence is doing at the moment, especially at NERA and some other things. So there could have been some filter before now, maybe except there are still few locations or few websites that are still in the past, still using the whatever to still limit Nigeria as it is. But I'm not aware. But if there are, then it's something that we need to continue to push the narrative that .ng domain name is not for dubious means or not for whatever issue that might be. So it is what it is. It is our own digital presence. And I don't know if maybe Reverend Sunday want to speak more on that or any of the other speakers in the house, but I think we need to continue to change that narrative.
Okay, so I noticed there's a technical glitch. Reverend Kano was trying to respond, but it's a technical glitch. You have the floor, sir. Okay. There's still that glitch. He's trying to respond. Okay, so Prof, I don't know if you can take the floor.
I was asking.
Okay, you were asking if we heard you. I said, sir. Reverend Canon, sir, we heard you briefly. Afiz Bashiru, please hold on, mute yourself. One of our speakers.
Hello, sir.
Is trying to
my name is Hafiz Basiru. What of the good important for the digital identity?
Hello, Akimbo, can you hear me?
I can hear you now, sir.
Yes.
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay, ahead, somebody was calling me repeatedly.
Oh, okay.
Doing denial of service because I'm using my phone for connect.
Okay. You have the floor, sir.
And
okay, so like Reverend Canon mentioned, someone is calling and affecting the connectivity for him to deliver. So we'll have to wait for him while he's trying to get his connectivity back. Afiz, just hold on. I hear you asked about something identity.
Okay.
Just hold on.
My question is, what of the most important of digital identity?
Okay, the importance of digital identity will come to you. Okay. Prof, help out. Reverend Cannon is having some technical glitch.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Mr. Ebenezer has provided some answers to that particular question, so I'm not going to say anything about it. I will just mention something briefly about the curriculum issue that Uncle SF mentioned. Sincerely, today I won't see any institution that will still be teaching some things that are very archaic for several reasons. Even the ones that are recent that we teach. So most of these students know far beyond what the lecturers are teaching. So we tell people in our classes that we know students come to class out of respect, because even when you are teaching them, they are cross-checking you, they are fact-checking you on YouTube, or they are even asking any AI to. However, you see, there are still some legacy technology that you teach, not because you are asking them to action them, but they need to know the evolution of technology. But so if I go into my class now and I'm teaching media, I'm teaching media, I'll definitely will still mention coaxial, not because I'm asking them to go and use coaxial. They can't even find it to use. But I'm teaching them, I'm trying to bring some evolution into not evolution knowledge into this some of these subjects. So I go across several institutions, and I can tell you, especially in the department where I work, we hardly have a curriculum that is not reviewed every 2 years. We hardly have curriculum that is not. Our field is dynamic, so we should snap out of the fact that people teach archaic things. It happens. I'm not denying that it doesn't happen, but there are very rare cases, very rare. So we should start out of it, because some of these belief and some of these narratives are the things that make people to feel that our students are not employable. But this same set of students, when they go abroad to go and do masters, they come out exceptionally well, which means they are not dropouts. So let's snap out of these narratives and begin to look at things from a very positive side of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for that submission. And I reason with the fact that, like you said, some of our students are already fact-checking us, and so we should not claim that so as not to spoil our own soup. I want to quickly go back again to SF. Before I go to the question from Afiz, then before I go to Yusuf Samsudin. Yusuf Samsudin, just hold on for us. SF, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you. You need to restate the question I will answer. I just spoke to somebody who has called me 35 times in the course of this webinar. 35 times. So please restate.
Okay, I'm going back to the question. Okay, so the question is that there is always some filter for .ng domain. How can some resolve these issues on some foreign network except you use VPN? That's the question.
All right. It's not a very complex problem. We are the architects of our own problem. As Mr. Dare mentioned, you have to be local to be global. We always think that what is local is not good enough. And so when there's a problem, maybe a website is being used for fraud. Instead of us identifying and reporting it to the police, we just bypass and we continue to ignore it until it gets flagged. And then the complete space around it is blacklisted. I see the same problem when people use Google Maps and it takes them to a wrong place in Nigeria. They just conclude that Google Map is not good. They don't commit to then going to edit that wrong information so that other people don't get affected. What makes systems work is that you build communities. And one of the communities we can build is to make sure that domains that are blacklisted are then whitelisted deliberately instead of us using VPN. So the fact that you can use VPN and VPN bypasses the problem means that there's no problem. If you truly see it as a problem, then you commit to ensuring that that domain blacklist is removed. So it's not going to be removed itself. People need to report it. People need to follow it through. People need to make sure that it is removed. I'm not sure if that's the type of answer you expect, but what can be done socially? I don't employ technology in doing it. So find me a domain that is blacklisted. Let me know who blacklisted it. I will write them politely, tell them that they should allow access to such domains. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So for those of us who may have listened to that particular question, this is an excellent delivery on why you should build the internet when you believe something is missing on the internet. On the Google map, I'm like on 7, and that is even small, but it's not easy to be on 7. You see something wrong, report it to the appropriate quarters, like Canon Reverend SF has said, so that way you have played your role in building the internet. Moving on, in the chat room, before I go on in the chat room, let me use the opportunity to ask Hafiz question. Hafiz is asking, what is digital identity? Any speaker can take that question. What is digital identity?
Folayan here. Is this in terms of this webinar or generally what digital identity is? Sorry, Mr. Moderator.
Oh, I thought I was unmuted. My apologies. I thought I was unmuted. No. Let me take that again. So, one way or the other, if you the question I think is coming from the fact that they are still in the Nigerian School on Internet Governance. They are learning about community networks, and they want to be sure how they can be identified online, because a lot of us claim that we have community networks in our area, but we do not have a digital identity. So I presume this person wants to learn more. That's why he or she is asking. Some of them have registered NGOs that we have spoken about. So I think that's why the question came up, sir.
Okay. Why I asked that is that we have not, in the context of this webinar, talked about digital identity. But since it is coming up, what you need digital identity for is exactly what would influence the type of definition you can get. That you do not say who you are does not mean that you will not be known. So if I start cracking jokes, the first thing people ask is that Alibaba? Because Alibaba is known for cracking jokes. And if you connect to the internet, it is possible just from your IP address to know where you are by consulting georeferenced databases that may have that IP address stating exactly where it is. So anything that would make it possible for you to be identified or authenticated or verified on the internet is your digital identity. And with that, You can have personalized experience on the internet, be able to look at tailored content, be able to connect to services and others, and also to build trust, to establish your credibility, and also build your reputation online. It may be your finger access, it may be your password, it may be your name, it may be some strange numbers like pretty good privacy keys and so on. So in the context of being online, where people cannot see you, they cannot feel you, they can still use some things to know that they are talking with who they believe they are talking with, without being any form of impersonation. That would be my layman's definition of digital identity. I hope
Thank you, sir.
Satisfies the inquiry.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, so I'm moving on. I want to make sure that we don't exceed 8:20. I know we have a hand up, so I'm going to recognize. Oh, the hand is still up. This is Samsudin. Please, my apologies. You have the floor. Go ahead. Samsudin.
Yes, good evening, sir. My name is Yusuf Shamsuddin, and thank you for this wonderful presentation. My question, sir, what are the best ways to ensure long-term sustainability and of this network? What are the best ways to ensure long-term sustainability of this?
Okay, the long-term sustainability. I know that some of our speakers have shared it. I've even written it down because one way or the other, it allows us to be able to address our proposals and to write strong proposals when seeking funding. However, I will still yield the floor to the speakers to respond to this. The floor is open. Our speakers.
Sorry, I personally missed the question, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. So the question was about what are the things we need to do to sustain a community network in our area.
I think Professor Wale dwelt extensively on it. Maybe Prof can recap the things he said. It looks like a lot of people joined, so they missed quite a lot of the things that were said. So, Professor Wale, you may wish to rehash the things you spoke about sustainability.
Okay, thank you, sir. Very briefly, I think the most important thing is community ownership. If you want to sustain something, at times you discover that some of these things is not even about having money that sustains them. Community ownership is the most crucial part of it. You can deploy something and people in the community will vandalize it. But if it's owned by the community, everybody will look after it and they ensure that that thing continues to work. So if the community owns it, they know how to raise money to sustain it, you can still get help here and there to sustain, but majorly, from where I stand, I think it's community ownership. Ensure that that project is owned by the community. And that can only happen if from inception, you carry the community along and you make them to understand that this belongs to you. So make it work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm trying to see if I have any other person here with me as an ESCO, because we're having two programs that we're running side by side. Aliu Binachi, please be muted. Be muted. So I want to appreciate our speakers, and I also wanted to, like I said, yield the floor to a member of the House. Okay, they have gone for the other meeting, so I'll have to wear the second cap. But before I, close this particular meeting, and before I appreciate our speakers once again, don't forget that there was this particular discussion on, from what Prof said initially, community feedback. We get feedback a lot from our members, and so we believe that you should learn from the fact that the community feedback would help guide you to understand why you should let your leaders, community leaders, be aware of what you are about to do. We intend as a nation to embark on regional community networks to get like it is expected from the Internet Society Foundation. We intend to use what Reverend Canon SF has also muted, which is reaching out to the USPF NIDA desk and requesting for support. And we intend to do this very soon. So that is why, if you have noticed, we have been clamoring for our members to be part of their regional platforms and be up and running, because we will need a lot of another word from Prof when he said you need to do your need assessment. From the need assessment, we'll be able to understand the local services we can offer, the local organizations, NGOs, CBOs, community-based organization, faith-based organization, cooperatives that we can work with to ensure that we can sustain whatever we start, and to ensure that we write a proposal strong enough to meet the qualifications or criteria of having a community network within the 6 geopolitical regions under the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Like I said, there will be a part 2 where we'll be stepping down. Why? Apart from ensuring that more people understand why you need a .ng domain name. For example, I have my .ng domain name, akimbo.ng. I have a website on it. I also use an email which I use very well, opomulero@akimbo.ng or oba@akimbo.ng. I use that to show that I'm from Nigeria, and I use that to show that I'm not just a Nigerian, I'm an international personality. I think all of us can do that. That's one. Two is that we must understand that in sustaining those community networks, like our speakers have postulated, we must have hands-on people we must give that capacity training to. So if there's anything that we need to repair, we already have hands-on on ground to be able to repair those things. Dr. Legbosi Emmanuel, I see your hand, just hold on. So we must have those particular technical hands on ground. And for those who already know me, we should have female technical hands. I'm somehow, baked in the technical world, but I'm not that perfect in the technical world. So I always seek the fact that when I see other people who are below my age or who are coming up, they should pay attention if they have the skill to being technical. So we would also be seeking gender balance, if possible, gender appropriation, and making sure that more women come into the technical world. We have unique people, like one of us who just became an ICANN fellow, Chinuade. I don't think she's here because she has other assignments she's actually taking. She's also a member of one of our working groups. She's a female of unique distance, of unique, there's a finesse to it. So we want our women or our ladies, in the bid to honor the International Girls' Child's Day today, we need to recognize the fact that women need to be more supported within our ecosystem. They are doing well, they are not doing bad. Like I have a member of the ESCO, two-time member of the ESCO, and the current ALAC representative for Africa. I have Madam Bukola Orochi online. So I'm going to recognize that to just give a closing remark. So thank God I have her. She will be the one to have the closing remark. Having said all of this, please support the 6 geopolitical regions. Make sure that you make use of those geopolitical. We just did a step down of people with disabilities across those 6 regions, and we are expecting that we will do more of such projects. On that note, I will allow Dr. Legborosi Emmanuel to, I don't know if it's a question, but I'm giving you the opportunity. Go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Mine is not a question. I want to appreciate all those who have presented one lecture or the other tonight. And I want to go straight to talk about the pride that we should all have for .ng and other digital identity that we as Nigerians should project in the course of our navigating the internet, in the course of our doing businesses, in the course of our doing research and other activities online. And I want to use a very personal note to say in 2006, to be very specific, when I put up my first digital identity, I used the .ng. And as at today, we just finished a Make in Nigeria conference here in Port Harcourt. And that conference had people from all over the world, and it was also on the .ng. We cannot continue to reject the very identity of who we are. It does not matter that 1%, like our late mother will say, that good people, great nation. Yes, that there are only very few percentage of bad people in Nigeria. Nigeria is a country of great people. So .ng is our identity. The more we use it, the more others will use it, and the more the world will respect it. The reason why they will want you to use their own country codes is just to populate their own ownership of the internet space. I believe with the population we have as a country, and also the accessibility to the internet, cutting across the whole nation, and the use of GSM that is very high, if everybody begins to use .ng in our navigation, in our ownership, in our websites, even in our emails, I am sure that more nations will respect Nigeria for who she is. Thank you very much. And once again, I congratulate all our girl child. I congratulate all our women who are in IT. God bless you all. Thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Legbrosi just took the assignment away from my hand in appreciating our leaders. Thank you for your, how do I call it now? Boycotting, no, not boycotting, but taking off that responsibility. Thank you so much. But I have women leaders in the room that will quickly celebrate before handing over to Madam Priscilla Igba. Chibugo Ilu, if I'm not wrong, is the co-chair for the Nigerian Youth Internet Governance Forum, which we started, which I led and started in 2013 to be precise. So we recognize you on this day with our Oga Patapata, the Amazon among executives, the Internet Society Nigerian chapter executive, Madam Priscilla Igba. Chibugo, I'll give you 2 minutes to say a word before we close, and then Priscilla Igba will close the room. Chibugo, your time starts now.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I just want to commend all the speakers and, of course, the moderator for, I would say, a job well done. Good job on delivering this lecture properly. I'm sure that it would have the necessary impact. I don't really have much to say, just well done to the organizing team and to the speakers.
Okay, thank you so much. And I hand over to, like I said, our Amazon, Priscilla Igba, the powerful treasurer for the Nigerian Internet, for the Internet Society Nigerian chapter. Madam Priscilla, over to you, ma'am.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Apologies that I came late. I think I'd heard you say, I think I heard you, Akimbo, say you hand over to Bukola, Madam Bukola, to give the vote of thanks. Oh, okay. All right. So, sincere appreciation to everyone, most especially our panelists. I know it was maybe short notice, so we sincerely appreciate that you've given us your time, your knowledge, you've shared your knowledge with us, and I hope that we've all learned one or two things here. And we hope that moving forward, we are able to, you know, put Nigeria in a better place, or in a better defined map that, you know, the world is recognizing us, and for what we do, for good, for the positives that we do. So thank you everyone once more. I wish you all a very lovely evening.
So on a final note, for those of us who are on our laptops, this is where we switch on our camera. No matter how bad the light is, let's pray that you will be seen. We take a picture, is our social. So please, if you're on the laptop, take our pictures as we all switch on our cameras. We'll be closing in the next 120 seconds, I think. Who is on the laptop to please help us take pictures? Okay, guys, okay. Please, let's switch on our cameras. Is someone taking pictures? Okay, I think someone has taken pictures on our behalf and chatted me. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you and have a blessed day.